It was a cold February night in 2024, and Melody Hoffman, a trusting and cheerful 20-year-old, was about to make a decision that would change everything. She had always been close to her family, especially her mother. Yet there were parts of her life she kept hidden, even from those who loved her most. On Saturday, February 17th at 11:30 p.m., without a word, Melody slipped out the front door of her home in Marion, Iowa. She hopped into a blue Honda Accord, unaware that the personal turmoil brewing in her life was about to take a deadly turn. The danger she was walking into was something she couldn't have imagined. Today, we dive into a chilling case, one that prosecutors later described as defying all logic. It's a tragic story of love gone wrong, a twisted triangle of betrayal, and accomplices so disturbed they were willing to commit unspeakable acts. Let's take a closer look at the events that led to a heartbreaking crime. Melody and her mother, Megan, had a quiet Saturday planned. Their day started late, and after a grocery run, they enjoyed tacos for lunch and a relaxing dinner at home. The night was casual. After the movie they watched together ended just after 11 p.m., Megan assumed the day had wrapped up. But Melody had other plans. At 11:27 p.m., Megan's phone buzzed with a notification from the Live 360 location tracker app, something that connected her daughter's phone to her own. Melody had just left the house. In the living room, a camera captured the young woman slipping out the door, the screen of her phone lighting up as if she were receiving a message. The sender? Unknown. Megan, not pleased with this sudden disappearance, immediately texted her daughter. "Are you kidding me right now?" she wrote. Melody's response came quickly. "I'll be back." But as it would turn out, that was a promise that wouldn't be kept. Melody's replies were delayed and the language odd, more detailed than usual. Megan, unaware at the time, didn't realize the difference. Her daughter ignored calls, and despite Megan's requests to speak directly, Melody never re-enabled her location tracker. Megan would later realize that the final conversation was not with Melody, but with her daughter's killer. At 3:13 a.m., a final message came through. Not from Melody, but from Apple's emergency service. It reported a crash. Megan, in a panic, drove to the location, finding Melody's phone on the entry ramp to Highway 100. The phone was face down, broken, and without its case. All recent activity was deleted. The next morning, Amy Robass was at Lily Lake, south of Marion, when a distressed couple approached claiming they'd found a body. Amy investigated, then called 911.
I'm actually at Lily Lake in Amana, and it looks like a dead body here.
Okay, you're at the lily pond?
Yeah, right by where the picnic area, the pavilion is. The woman, and she's just wearing underwear.
Is she breathing?
It does not look like it.
Okay, so you said that she's on her stomach?
She is on her stomach, yes.
Does it look like she was in the water?
No.
Okay, and is there anything else around her?
No, but there are all kinds of marks on her back, like flashes.
The body was identified as Melody Hoffman. When deputies arrived, they found Melody face down, covered in lacerations. The medical examiner determined she died from strangulation, with multiple stab and slash wounds. Marks on her wrists indicated she had been bound. Although she was found partially undressed, there were no signs of sexual assault. Many of her wounds were inflicted post-mortem, suggesting the crime scene was staged to look like a sexual attack. Investigators concluded that Melody's murder didn't happen at Lily Lake, but somewhere else, with her body brought there later. Melody Hoffman, born in December 2003 in Cedar Rapids, to Megan and TJ, had dreamed of a career in medicine but struggled academically due to a mild intellectual disability. Her mental age was behind her physical age, which impacted her decision-making. Despite these challenges, she was a loving, extroverted person, deeply passionate about animals, and volunteered at the Lynn County Animal Shelter. On the night of February 17th, Melody left home abruptly, telling her mom she was with friends. A Snapchat video posted shortly after showed her happily singing along in the back of a car, although she didn't know the lyrics. The Marion community mourned her tragic loss, holding a vigil to honor her joyful personality. Megan, devastated, provided investigators with Melody's phone and location data. Investigators traced Melody's movements to Morgan Creek Park, where her Apple Watch recorded an elevated heartbeat before the device stopped. They believed the murder took place there before her phone traveled back toward Marion, eventually reaching her final destination. It didn't take long for detectives to identify their first suspect, Melody's ex-boyfriend, McKinley Ken Louisma. They had dated for about 2 months, but the relationship ended badly when Melody discovered McKinley had reconciled with his ex-girlfriend, Nikia, because she was pregnant. A heated exchange on Facebook followed, with Melody even threatening to call the police. Melody's autopsy revealed a pregnancy hormone, suggesting she was either newly pregnant or had been recently. This was a secret she may have kept from others. The same day McKinley was planning to pick up his belongings from Melody's home, she received a threatening text from an unknown number that read, "Bitch, I hate you, and your family ain't safe." Megan believed the message came from McKinley, the only source of conflict in Melody's life. After the emergency notification on February 18th, McKinley was the first person Melody reached out to. He claimed not to have seen her, but traffic cameras contradicted his story. They caught McKinley's blue Honda Accord picking up Melody after 11:20 p.m. on February 17th. The car was tracked to Morgan Creek Park and then to Edgewood Road near Melody's home. McKinley then drove toward Lily Lake in Amana. McKinley's cell phone data tracked the same movements as the car. His last stop before returning home was a Quick Star in Cedar Rapids, where he and a companion were seen buying cigars. When McKinley waived his rights to an attorney and sat down with detectives, they were already searching his vehicle. For nearly an hour, he denied any involvement in Melody's murder, claiming he hadn't seen her that weekend. The interview tone shifted when investigators asked about McKinley's trip to Walmart, where he admitted to buying a machete for a camping trip that never happened. He claimed the trip was canceled last minute, but detectives weren't convinced.
You never wound up going camping?
No.
Okay. And you said the reason you didn't go camping was because of...
They changed their mind last minute.
While the search continued, law enforcement found a machete in McKinley's vehicle, along with a pocket knife, duct tape, and a receipt for 2 other machetes. In the trunk, investigators discovered items that tied McKinley to the crime: a pink shirt stained with blood, a pair of black leggings known to be Melody's, a band for her Apple Watch, gloves, and duct tape with Melody's hair attached. There was also the cover of her phone and a piece of paracord, likely the murder weapon. The evidence contradicted McKinley's statements, and detectives pressed him for the truth.
So that's why I was asking those hard, difficult questions, because it's like, all right, maybe McKinley came in here and he's just a little bit upset and regretful about what he did, but I want to give you the opportunity to tell us what the real truth of this matter was. Okay, because right now we can both agree that we have not talked about this yet. Okay?
The guy said if I want to be done with this, I can be done with this, and I can leave, because this is just too much for me right now, man.
Okay. And that's completely up to you. If it's
If I
something...
gotta come back to you guys, I can, but this is just really too much for me right now.
Okay. So what are you saying?
I just want to be done and just leave, like I said.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, if at some point, whether it's tonight, tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon, you're in a position where you've had a chance to think about a few things, and you think, you know what, upon thinking of a few things, there's a few things that maybe I didn't get on the table that I would like to get on the table.
I'll let you know right
We're always gonna leave that door open for you, okay? We're always gonna be fair.
McKinley then shifted his story, claiming a new version of events. He placed the blame on Dakota Van Patten, a friend he had met recently. McKinley said they had casual plans, but things escalated when Dakota suspected Melody had money after she mentioned buying him a PlayStation. McKinley claimed Dakota was the one who initiated the violence, whispering to him before things turned dangerous. McKinley continued to explain that Dakota Van Patten had pulled out a gun and forced him to tie up Melody with duct tape, possibly planning to ransom her. As Dakota hit Melody in the back seat, she mentioned her location being shared with her mom. McKinley turned off one location but left the other on, hoping to give her mom a clue. Melody's phone was taken, and McKinley claimed that Dakota sent a text to her mother, pretending Melody was on her way. When they reached Lily Lake, McKinley said he couldn't hear or see what happened to Melody while he waited by the car. He later expressed regret, claiming he couldn't do anything because Dakota had the gun.
It says big fat llama drama. And he was like, who is that? And she said, that's my mom. And then he took the phone and he started texting the mom saying, she's on her way to open the door. Right. So tell him like, yo, just stop, bro. Just let her go. Just let her go. She in the backseat crying and calling my name. I can't do nothing because he's sitting in the front seat with a gun.
Detectives were skeptical of McKinley's story, especially when DNA tests on the weapons in the car revealed hits on Dakota, not McKinley. Investigators also found more climbing rope at Dakota's house, along with Melody's eyeglasses and other weapons. The search of Dakota's brother's house revealed a machete, a gun, and ammunition. Dakota was arrested along with McKinley. Surveillance footage from Walmart showed McKinley, Dakota, and Logan Kimpton buying machetes and gloves. Logan later confessed that all three of them had planned the murder, but he chickened out. Logan was charged with conspiracy and willful injury. In the trial, McKinley's defense argued that he was present but didn't participate in the murder. They speculated that McKinley, who had been living with his pregnant girlfriend, Nikia, might have killed Melody because he believed he was responsible for both pregnancies. Nikia confirmed that McKinley didn't know whether he was the father of her child, but suspected he might be. Taya Meyer, a friend of Dakota, testified that Dakota confessed to the murder, saying he and McKinley had killed Melody. However, her testimony was challenged when she seemed uncertain about the details. Despite this, Taya implicated McKinley in the crime.
I closed my door. I said, so what is this about? I want to go to bed. Like, what are you here for? And he was just like, well, I just need to tell you something. I said, well, get off your chest. Tell me, like, what's going on. And he was like, I killed someone. I said, who, why, what the fuck, what for? And he was like, that Melody girl. And I was like, for what? She didn't do anything to you. Who, why would you do that? Who with? What was the reason? He was like, with Ken.
That he was with Ken, and that he killed someone. Did he tell you what he did, what Ken did,
No.
what they may have done together?
No.
Did he offer any more details about that?
No. He just said it had to be done.
He just said it had to be done?
Yes.
Brendan Monson, a 20-year-old, testified that on February 17th, he was mudding with Taya, Dakota, and Logan in Solon. During this time, Logan mentioned that he, Dakota, and McKinley, referred to as Ken, had plans to murder someone.
What did he say about the plans he had with those two?
He said that he had a plan to go murder someone and that it was going to be with the defendant, Ken, and Dakota Van Patten. He said it was supposed to happen that night. I didn't know if he was joking or not because he has been known to joke around about killing people in the past.
While Monson was unsure if Logan was joking due to his past tendencies to joke about violence, he recalled Logan specifically mentioning that the murder would happen that night. The defense questioned Monson's memory, especially regarding whether Logan had implicated McKinley in the murder. Monson admitted he needed his memory refreshed by someone before testifying in court. Trevor Wise, a friend of McKinley's, testified that McKinley had asked him to stay quiet about spending time with Dakota, saying they often got into trouble together. However, Wise's memory was also questioned, and he admitted to being unsure about whether McKinley had said those exact words. Digital evidence, however, provided crucial support for the prosecution. McKinley's phone showed searches for face coverings, ski masks, rubber gloves, and locations like Morgan Creek Park and Lily Lake. These searches were made just hours before he picked up Melody on the night of the murder. Additionally, photos from McKinley's phone included disturbing images. One of Dakota wearing Melody's glasses, and another showing Melody with duct tape over her mouth and a bloody nose, visibly crying. Another photo showed Dakota with a BB gun in his waistband, which prosecutors believe was the weapon used to coerce McKinley into participating in the murder. The tragic case of Melody Hoffman concluded with McKinley Louisma being convicted of her murder. The evidence presented during the trial revealed the disturbing details of how McKinley, along with Dakota Van Patten, brutally killed Melody. McKinley, who had a past with Melody and had been involved with a new girlfriend, ultimately chose to end things with Melody, leading to the horrific events that followed. The jury found McKinley guilty on multiple charges, including first-degree murder, kidnapping, and conspiracy to commit a forcible felony. At the sentencing, Melody's mother, Megan Hoffman, expressed her deep anger and sorrow. She condemned McKinley for breaking her rules, disrespecting her daughter, and causing unimaginable pain to their family. She pointed out the absence of any support from McKinley's own family during the trial, further highlighting the depth of his betrayal. McKinley was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. While some sense of justice was served, the case isn't over yet. Dakota Van Patten is scheduled for trial in March 2025, while Logan Kimpton will face trial in April 2025. This case serves as a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of cruelty and betrayal.